need our support or they need to be comforted, wallahi, that is the highest form of what it means to have a good family and a supportive family. And remember this, how we feel and what we are thinking are places where people can only come in by invitation. I'm not going to let anybody into my heart and my feelings or my thoughts and my head simply because they're family members. No, man. I want to make sure. Can you not hear me, by the way? Do you want me to scream?
The sisters are the back.
Also, the sisters can't hear
I
us?
think they just want to speak, so it's
Okay. Apologies to the sister, that was a conspiracy by the brothers. So now what happens is, remember how I feel and what I think. How I feel, and is this what you want? How I feel and what I think are places where people can only come in by invitation. Because I said, how are you doing? It doesn't mean that you are going to tell me how you are doing. Wallahi, I remind you, this is a sunnah that many times we forget to practice. Asking each other, how are you doing? That is crucial. It is important. I've heard of many people who have passed away in their homes, and people didn't even know that they were dead for a few days. There was a case in the book that I told you about, Why We Don't Talk to Each Other Anymore, by John Locke, where he tells the story of a woman in Florida. She passed away, and for 9 weeks she is dead at home, and people did not know that she was dead. They would interview the neighbors, and they said, well, did you see anything strange? Say, yeah, the grass was getting taller and it's not being mown, and yeah, we didn't see her come outside, and yeah. So for 9 weeks, this woman is home dead, and nobody knew that she's passed away. So it's very crucial. This idea of how are you doing is very important. And this is what happens usually. You ask a person, how are you doing? He says, alhamdulillah, man, my job is good. Brother, I'm not asking about your job. How are you doing? Well, alhamdulillah, family is good. Brother, I'm not asking about your family. I'm asking about you. How are you doing? Say, alhamdulillah, my health is good. I'm glad your health and your family and your job is good, but that's not my question. How are you doing? And subhanAllah, in most of these cases, people start crying. People start crying. So what's going on? I said, man, nobody asks me anymore, how are you doing? Family members, all we do is we just ask about how is school today. SubhanAllah, when we look into the psychology of communication, they say that we human beings are capable of going into 8 different levels of depth in communication. And most people go to sleep after only the 2nd, maybe sometimes the 3rd level, and that's it. So the first level is asking cliché questions. You really don't mean the question, and the person knows that you really don't care, but we say it because it's a polite thing to do. You see your neighbor, hey, how are you doing? Say, I'm doing fine. Do you really care? So it's cliché. You pick up your kids from school, how is school today? Fine. What did you do? Nothing. Okay, alhamdulillah. We move on. They were at school for 8 hours, and they said they did nothing, and that's okay. That cannot be. Why is that? Because it is cliché. Then we come to the 2nd level of depth. And now what we ask is we ask facts. Did you do your homework? Did you pay the bill? Did you make the appointment? Did you cancel the appointment? Did you fix the car? Did you do this? Did you do that? And then they say most people go to sleep after this. Most people go to sleep. after the second level. How many levels did we say we have? 8. And most of us go to sleep only after the second one. What have we exchanged? Cliché and facts, and that's it. And then people go to sleep. So it is important that when we are together, putting this thing aside, what are we going to do in the meantime? We want to revive this idea of togetherness. I want to ask, how are you doing? And I want a response back. But remember, see, if you want to know what's in my heart and what's in my head, you have to come in and you have to knock the door. And I'm going to peek and see who's knocking on the door. If I like you, I'm going to let you in. Or I'm going to let you in. If I don't like you, I'm not going to let you in. So the question is, what would make me as a parent, a husband or a wife or a child or a friend, what would make me admittable? Why would people open the door for me? What is it about me? Listen to this. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, what I call the triple A. Approachability, availability, accessibility. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم تحرم النار على كل هين لين سهل قريب من الناس صلى الله على رسول الله. He said Allah absolutely forbids the hellfire to consume a person who is هين. قالوا في لغة العرب إذا قلت فلان هين هذا ذم، إذا قلت فلان هين هذا مدح، إذا قلت فلان لين هذا ذم، إذا قلت فلان لين هذا مدح. Beautiful play with language here. So the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah forbids the hellfire to consume anybody who is hayn. They're easily pleased. Layn. They are gentle. Hayn. Layn. Sahl. Sahl. They are accessible. قريب من الناس. They are approachable. Said availability, accessibility, and approachability is the best way that when people knock on our door and they see, oh, it's that person, they can come in. They can come in. I know I can speak to this person. I know this person would listen. I know this person is going to give me the time. And see, if I come to you and I say, hey, how are you doing? And I do this, you just told me that you really don't have the time. And sometimes the tendency is that this is what we do with our families. Quite subhanAllah, you know, all these things to be approachable, accessible, and available. It's not about doing a lot of big things, but it is about doing a lot of little things. A lot of little things. But we have a tendency to undermine little things. Smile is a little thing, but many times you see in the hadith it said that the companion came in late to the masjid and it was Fajr time and the masjid was full, but he really needed to ask the Prophet ﷺ a question. He said the masjid was full, so he said I kept, moving people aside and walking in, and the people said that you came in late to sit down in the back, you came in late. Good. فَرَآنِ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم فَتَبَسَّمَ. He said the Prophet ﷺ looked at me and he smiled. And he said that smile was an invitation for me, you can come. Little things. Smile. Little things. This kid was playing and he fell down and he scratched his elbow. And his father was doing something really, really important and he was finishing a project. So the kid came to his father and said, Baba, look, I scratched my elbow. But Baba was busy doing something really important, so Baba slams the table. What do you want me to do? Do I look like a doctor to you? What do you want me to do? So the kid looked at him and he said, Baba, just say ouch. Just say ouch. That's what you need to do. Remember, little things. A lot of little things, this is what makes the difference. So the saying goes that big things happen only when little things are done right. We want the big things, but we don't like to do the little things. And we continue to do the same thing, hoping for a different outcome, and that never happens. So the story goes to say that a group of people working in some construction site on the outskirts of the city far away, people bring their own food. And this guy, he takes out his lunchtime, and it was time for them to eat. So this guy takes out his lunch, and he opens his lunch and he sees bologna, everyday bologna. I am sick and tired of bologna. And he slams his sandwich on the floor. So his friend looked at him and he said, man, he said, if you don't like bologna, just tell your wife you don't like bologna. He looked at him and said, man, my wife doesn't make my sandwich, I make my own sandwich. But here is the interesting part. He made bologna sandwich in the morning, and when it was lunchtime, he expected something else. Steak, caviar, Allahu A'lam. But if you make bologna sandwich in the morning, guess what? You're having bologna for lunch. So now the tendency is that we make the sandwich in the morning, but we want to have something else in the, during lunchtime. Currently, social media it's a beautiful tool. Nobody can argue that. And please do not argue the obvious. Arguing the obvious does not make us more religious. Denying the obvious does not make us more religious. The Quran tells us, do not argue the obvious. How? In the Quran we are told, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْخَمْرِ وَالْمَيْسِرِ قُلْ فِيهِمَا إِثْمٌ كَبِيرٌ وَمَنَافِعُ لِلنَّاسِ. Is that they inquire, they ask you about alcohol and intoxicants and gambling. Let the people know that in them there is a big sin and some benefit to people. Are there benefits to gambling? Are there benefits to gambling?
Yes.
And for £1 you get a million. Is that good or bad? Some people think that it's religious to say bad, astaghfirullah, bad. It is good. Don't deny the obvious. It's good. Intoxicants, alcohol. Is there some good in alcohol? Is there some good in alcohol? Yes, there is. Smoke marijuana. Is there something good in marijuana? Are there any good in marijuana? Come on now, experts. Is there anything good in marijuana? Yeah, man, there's a lot of good in marijuana. It relaxes you temporarily, it gets rid of your anxiety. It's a good medication for nausea, especially for people who have chemo. They're going through the chemo radiation therapy with cancer, and people who have HIV. Yeah, it's good. But that's not where the Quran stops. The Quran then says, وَإِثْمُهُمَا أَكْبَرُ مِنْ نَفْعِهِمَا. However, the sin and the problem in them is far greater than the benefit that they offer you. But the point here, the Quran is saying that do not deny the obvious. See, when people do not deny the obvious, you can actually engage in a healthy argument with them. It can be intellectually very stimulating because you're not denying the obvious. So we're not going to deny the obvious by saying that this is bad. No, we say, look man, there is a lot of good in this. So long that we use it the correct way, there is a lot of good in it. The problem is the way that we are using it. See, this is not called halal or haram. This is mubah, this is permissible. What you do with it makes it halal or haram. So what happens now is that people use social media and TV and all these instruments simply because maybe of the conveniency, maybe they're staying in touch, and that's all good, but it is the overusage of it that is problematic. And I was reading of the people who, some of the people that actually not produce, what is that called when you make an app? What is that called? Develop an app. You know who's employed in the development of apps? Psychologists. Where do these psychologists come from? You know, where do they come from? They're the same psychologists that are employed by Las Vegas. Because now the idea is what? To create a sense of dependency. How many times have you heard people saying that, man, if I lose my phone, I die? How many of you feel this way? If I lose my phone, man, I'll die, man. Okay. You taken away your kid's phone for a day, and see what happened to them? Become very angry, they become very irritable, they are depressed. They are going through what we call withdrawal symptoms. They are like the same types of reaction that people get when they're alcoholics and they're not getting their alcohol. They get withdrawal symptoms. And remember, we want to speak, like I said yesterday, beyond just labeling things as haram and halal. That is part of the solution, but that is not the only solution. And when you look into the Quran, see, every time the Quran says that something is haram, there are usually a lot of halal alternatives. Alcohol is haram, but man, all other kinds of drinks are halal. Pork is haram, but everything else is halal. Riba is haram, but all other forms of transactions are halal. So the Quran tells you that this is haram, but then there are other alternatives. And I think that the challenge that we have is the alternatives. Creating alternatives that actually compete with this. And this is a very, very tough competition, by the way. This is an extremely tough competition. So when you say, put that down, and do what? And do what? So just a few ideas. So they say that in psychology and sociology, they found out that a household where in the living room, usually most people have the TV in their living rooms, right? And the minute you sit on the couch, what is the first thing that you do? You find the remote. Sisters, if you ever want to drive your husband crazy, hide the remote. Okay? So what happens is people sit down and the first thing that they do is find the remote and then you turn on it. Even if you're not watching, the TV is on. And then what are we doing? We're flipping the channel. So they found out, they said, look, if you disconnect the TV and instead you bring in a bookshelf with books in them, said that what they found out is that people actually sit down and people just grab a book and they start reading. Developing better habits, creating better alternatives. And remember, these things initially are difficult to do, but the whole idea is to develop a better habit. As they say, a bad habit is like a comfortable bed. Very easy to get into and very difficult to get out of. And this is where we are at this point. We are in this comfortable bed. It was very easy to fall into, but it is very difficult to get out of. Talking about the amount of time. Yesterday I learned, somebody told me about the parental control on my phone that I did not know about. And I found out that the developer of Apple actually did not want a parental control as an option on the phone. Because to them it's like the longer you stay on the phone, the longer you are on this, the better it is, the more money that they make. They're talking about nowadays, video games is actually an addiction. We, in counseling, we can diagnose somebody as being addicted to video games. It is very common that nowadays you go to the chiropractor and they can diagnose you with the texting neck. Which means that people are doing this all the time and they're developing all kinds of neck problems. And you go there and the chiropractor asks, how much time are you spending on your phone? Say, I'm on my phone all the time. Say, well, it seems like you have the texting neck, where people are just constantly doing this. It comes with physical consequences, it comes with emotional consequences, with becoming dependent on it, and worst of all, it is all